Welcome back to another episode of the Minds with Hakeem podcast. First things first, happy Black History Month. I'm excited and delighted to be podding back in Black History Month, and also I'm excited for what's coming. So these next 4 episodes is going to be on a series devoted mostly to reading and why we should read more as adults. I think we focus a lot on having kids read in this environment, which is important. We want our babies to read, but our babies are also models. So I'm looking to cater a conversation on reading, whether it's audiobooks or physical books or essays and different material, and the importance from adults. So without further ado, I want to introduce my first guest in this series, a dear friend, a podcast cousin, Abena Sankofa Imhotep. She is an author, a scholar, and an advocate who works, celebrates Africana, challenges historical narratives, and champions educations. As the founder of the Sankofa Literary and Empowerment Group, the Imhotep Report, and the host of Black and Privileged in America podcast, she creates a lifelong learning spaces and strive for authentic community and connections. She's also a TEDx speaker, a member of the Iowa Speakers Bureau, and a member of the Iowa Writers Collaborative. Avana graduated from Drake University, and she has received numerous honors, including the Iowa Podcast Host of the Year and the Iowa Author Award. Her work remains informed by Black freedom, Africana studies, and community-centered leadership traditions. This episode is one you want to share with your fellow friends. Enjoy this conversation. Welcome back to another episode of the Minds with Hakeem podcast. I am your host, Juwan Hakeem, and if you're watching this on video, you can see me smiling and grinning from ear to ear. I'm excited and delighted to have one of my podcast cousins. Respectfully, I like to call her my podcast auntie, but I'll work with cousin. Avana, can you say what's up to the people?
Yeah, what's up, Juwan? I'm so glad to be here.
We're back.
Yeah,
we were
back.
just talking about it. It's been like 5 years.
We got a little break in between.
Exactly. But we started this new awesome thing called Podcast Cousins that I get to do with you. So I see you a lot more now, which is phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
But yeah, no, that first episode, and I want to give you your flowers off the start. I didn't know you when I was reaching out. I think I put a Facebook post up. I think it said something along the lines of, I want to talk to somebody in the education space or whatever, and like 4 people reference you. Like,
really?
on their post.
Is that how it happened?
That's how it happened.
Oh my gosh, because I was trying to remember and I could not remember.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened.
Wow.
And I can't remember the 4 people who did. I need to find that post and probably pop it up. But no, it was amazing. And I reached out, and obviously you was welcoming, like, okay, who's this young Black guy? Let me see what he about. And we had a wonderful conversation.
We did. I'll never forget it. You were so warm and open.
Well, thank you.
To our conversation, and I appreciated that, and still do.
Yeah, so I have a group of childhood best friends, I like to call. We've been now a group of men who's been friends for coming up on 13 years now, which I say that because I was so naive. I thought that's how the world worked, that all men have friends. Like, that's a really valuable relationship. But they pour into me a lot, and you and a few other people were one of the episodes where, because they talk on that level, and they was just like, yeah, you got to get her back on. Like,
wow. Okay, fellas. Thank you, fellas.
Yeah. The fellas wanted to see you back on. There's one, my buddy Jordan Green, who I'm thinking of specifically. He loved people who passionate about literacy and just, passionate about pouring into Black people, to be honest. So
we need poured into.
Amen.
We need poured into because by and large, we always are pouring out. Whether it's by necessity or just because that's who we are to each other and to the world we live in, we need to be poured into. So I consider my work one where I'm lucky enough and blessed enough to get to do that. It's about pouring into us, replenishing, filling us up.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That work is essential, which is part of the reason why you're sitting across from me today. I want to highlight that work, but also I want to take my podcast listeners on a journey just about reading and the importance of reading. And I couldn't think of another person better than you on the cusp of Black History Month. Actually, this will be released in Black History Month. So,
Wow.
and then
Black History Month,
let me put a caveat in there. We celebrate Black History January to December, but February we get to go a little crazy. So
That's right.
but yeah, no, and I'm excited to start it out with you. But before we jump into reading and nerd out on that, give us an update. What you up to? What's going on?
Jawan, I got so much stuff going on that if I didn't have my calendar, I might go a little crazy.
Caveat, calendars are super important.
They are. It's a part of my literacy journey.
I love it.
I am Abena Sankofa Imhotep. I am the founder of Sankofa Literary and Empowerment Group. The Imhotep Report, which is a Substack long form where I examine the world and cultural context and connect them locally to situations and happenings across the world.
A lot of people might not know what Substack is. What is that? Can you explain that for us real fast?
Substack, I hate to call it, I hesitate to call it a social media for writers, but it is an online gathering space for writers. So whether you are a journalist, a poet, whatever kind of writing you do, you can find your community on Substack, and I certainly have begun to do that.
That's
so
awesome.
the Imhotep Report has been my kind of like a sweet little thing I did on the side, but now it's really serious.
Now how long have you been doing the Imhotep report?
The Imhotep Report is not even a year old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so in a
this
few
is the
months,
new baby.
it's a new baby. And what I found was I had to get myself back into the cadence
Love
of
it.
writing again on a regular basis. I've got subscribers who are now depending on
they looking
my
for that
content.
work.
They are. And I love it. So that's the Imhotep Report on Substack, and then Black and Privileged in America podcast.
Hey, how long have you been doing Black and Privileged in America podcast?
I believe that it was around the time when we first sat down and had that conversation on your podcast, I was entertaining the notion. So after that conversation with you in 2020, I believe
that was.
we went live. So I started out with a co-host.
Yep.
And we was kicking it. We was doing our thing for a good year, and
Yeah.
then we recalibrated. And I began the solo podcast,
Nice.
and it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey.
Nice. Podcast journey is interesting because, for me, I love the beauty of it. I get to talk to beautiful minds and learn on the spot and be challenged directly on the spot. Not in a bad way. We view the world differently. Everybody do. So I love that part about soloing a podcast and facilitating conversation. What do you like the most about being a podcaster?
I think it has to do with so my niche is power, love, and money conversations relevant to Black thriving. So to invite guests on who have completely different perspectives than I do, they come from different experiences and backgrounds. I had our state auditor, Rob Sand, who is a white guy from Decorah.
Yeah.
We have very little in common, but to have him speak to issues that are relevant to Black thriving was interesting to me.
Yeah.
People who come from various religious contexts or no religious context at all.
For sure.
To talk to them about issues that are relevant to Black thriving. So to me, it's the variety, it's the diversity. I know I'm going to learn something, even if it rubs me the wrong way.
Yep.
I know I'm going to take something away from everybody I talk to.
Yeah, it's interesting. As our culture shift to that, rub me. I don't want to surround myself with anyone who don't rub me the wrong way. Which you got to protect your peace. That's not what I'm saying, but it's just I think you learn. It's power in those conversations and being around those folks and civilly disagreeing. Keep emphasis on the civilly.
I'm with you there. And to your point, I had when the Israel Palestine conflict got to the point where a large portion of our country was aware of it, right?
Yes.
When that was hot in the very beginning, I decided, okay, we need to have a conversation around this. Why is it relevant to Black thriving?
Yeah.
Because our civil rights movement has always had Palestinian solidarity as a part of it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to not only talk to people who were supportive of the Palestinian perspective, but I wanted to talk to someone who was also supportive of the Israeli perspective. So I did a 2-part series.
That's
and
awesome.
man, you should have heard the feedback I got.
Oh, you was probably getting cursed
I
out by
was
both
getting
sides.
from people that I was like thinking they were gonna vibe with me and everything,
Yeah.
but no, it's a matter of not being willing to hear difference.
Yeah. And that middle space you're talking about where this side is mad at you because you had this conversation and that side is mad at you. I've been curating, especially the last 5 years, on how to thrive in that space.
Oh, you have to. That is where we thrive the most. Is because what you become not just a part of the conversation.
Yeah.
You become a facilitator.
Yes.
At that point.
Yes.
Because it's people don't have to agree.
Nope.
But can we respect one another? Can we listen?
Yeah.
Can we learn something?
The humanity
The
of
humanity,
it.
absolutely.
Like it has to stay within the humanity guardrails for me. If it don't, that's when I got a big issue with
Yep.
it. So,
Period.
Yeah.
Yes.
no, that's awesome. Well, I know you up to so much more.
Man, I am.
But I
ain't
have to
even-
move us along because we got to get to reading. Can
Yeah.
we get to reading and education?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
favorite.
Perfect. All right. So now we're going to skip down to what role does education, literacy, or personal growth plays in your work and in life right now?
You know, all 3 of those are absolutely essential and central to my work. Literacy to me is beyond reading words. Of course, it's important. We have to know how to pronounce words, how to understand a sentence, and how to communicate these things. But it's beyond that. It's about reading the world we live in.
Yes.
So can I name what's happening? That's literacy, you know? Are my skills sharpened? Because literacy is a skill. Being able to
Yes.
read the world we're in, that's a doggone skill set we need.
Super skill at this
You know, understanding systems. What's the difference between authoritarianism and fascism and all of these things and ideas, right? We have to be literate in the world. So to me, literacy is essential. Personal growth, education, it's all, in my mind, for my work, it's community based.
Yes.
It's at the community level that I want to help people and walk alongside people as they learn to read the world. We have to unlearn, relearn, and understand.
Yeah. And I want to drive deeper on that point about community based. And this is a question it just popped in my head when you said that, because your work is 100% communal. Is our work important if it don't build a community?
I don't know. That's a big question. Because I don't want to say that, you know, other types of work
Yeah.
are not important, but
Yeah.
it's certainly something that for us, for Black folks, we have to look out for each other. That I think that's part of our responsibility.
Yeah.
And it may not look the same for everybody. It just depends on
That's
your
true.
skills, your passions, your purpose.
Yeah.
So for me, my work is rooted in community. It is about community
Love that.
building.
I love that. And I thought about that too, because I was thinking about just talking with you and my wife before we got on there about housing and location and stuff like that. One of my best friends, Tyler Springer, he's a realtor.
Shout out Tyler.
Shout out TY, man. Good dude. But his real estate business, his goal is to get people houses. But, man, he's built a beautiful community by selling people houses. Like, I know just because we're off the cusp of Christmas, he do this. Him and his brother Andrew do a big, like, Christmas party where they get all of their clients together and they build that tribe in the community. And, some people might deem selling houses isn't important, but it's important in a lot of other ways than besides building community.
Absolutely.
But he's building that
Yeah.
community too, which made me think about that when you said that. I'm like, wow, like they're not only doing important work outside of the community piece, putting families in houses, but also they're building a community within it too, which I think is why they've been crushing it, like in business. I
And
think
people
that's
know
why.
when you're working with them, you can feel the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
It's am
can't
I in it
fake
to
that.
make money?
Yeah.
Or am I in it really to help you and help your family and help us to all grow together,
Yeah.
right? So my point is we can be better, and I'd rather do it together than alone.
I love that. So let's talk about your reading journey.
Ooh, okay.
When did reading first become important to you?
All my life. No, growing up, like my parents had books everywhere. You know,
Amazing.
it wasn't like an elaborate collection or anything, but there were books, there were magazines. We had Ebony and Jet. We had the daily newspaper back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So there was always something to read, something to immerse myself in.
Amazing.
Then my parents got a set of encyclopedias. So my world opened up. You know, it did.
Big time.
It opened up, and so I wanted to know what this word meant and what this country was.
Yeah.
And so a pivotal moment for me was fourth grade. I had a reading teacher, Mrs. Swanson. I will never forget Mrs. Swanson. She read us a story out loud over the course of the first part of the school year, and that story was called Where the Red Fern Grows by Wilson Rawls.
Why have I heard that before?
Yeah, it's a little country story. I can't
Yeah.
even tell you what it means, what it is now to reflect on all of it. But
Yeah.
the point of sitting in a classroom with my classmates, hands on top of each other with my chin on my hands, right? Listening to her talk about this dog
Amazing.
and these two kids or this kid and these two dogs and going through this journey with them in their context and in their world. I remember my imagination lit on fire. Every word she said as she's reading to us, I could imagine it. I could see it in my mind. And I began to think how powerful
Stories.
words are. Yeah.
That's
stories.
amazing. And like that perspective is so like, because I love how it started in the household.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the household is so important, and we was nerding out about that too. We talked about a lot of stuff. But
It don't take much for me to nerd out.
no, it's ain't me either. But I love that outside of the household, somebody else was able to shine a different light. The light was already on, but
Yeah.
this light might have just turned green. So like, that interest, like that's amazing. Like
That kind of awareness was a through line throughout my childhood. So, you know, my household, school, of course, and then our public library. I remember getting my first library card when I was 5 years old at Mid-City Library in Des Moines, 13th and University, right?
Yeah.
I remember those moments and visiting the library, checking out books. It became a part of our lives.
Yeah.
That's just the way we rolled,
Yeah.
and it's kind of made this mad woman you see right now.
Yeah. So that was good times because, and I had the fortunate pleasure of like growing up in a society that wasn't plagued by phones and social media and stuff like that.
Oh, man.
But
Yeah.
I was right at that cusp. So
Uh-huh.
like my generation, millennials is kind of like the bottom half of millennials, which I'm close to. Their phone base I grew up playing outside.
Outside running around, you know, and when my cousins and I were doing double dutch or playing hide and go seek, we come in, wash up, and then I'd get a book and read.
See, that's amazing.
I'm chilling
Yeah.
with my book, right?
That's
So
amazing. Man, yeah. So like, and I definitely did not make those choices. But we talked about like in the home, like I grew up with a single mom, and she did the best she can. She worked 16-hour days a day, so she didn't have no time for me to be seeing her reading stuff like that. But yeah, my reading journey is slightly different. Where I didn't read my first book until after I graduated college. Spark notes, anyway I get. Like I tell you, you had to be way with your words if you didn't know what was in that book, but still get a passing grade. Which I learned those skills, but like my reading journey started out to college. So just to hear, I'm a fan. I'm in awe of like seeing a young reader envisioning that. That's what I want for my children. Like,
right,
that's
but
what
I don't
want.
think you're alone in that because studies have shown that the majority of American adults have not read a book in a year.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't think I don't want you to feel some type of way, but that's just the reality of what it was. And
That's true.
that's a shared reality among a lot of people.
Yeah.
For me, I would like to encourage people to find something you're interested in. It doesn't even have to be a whole book, but maybe it's an article.
Yeah.
Maybe it's you're curious about something. So research it. Look it up.
Yeah.
Use your devices, but read.
Absolutely. So, and that was a huge piece for me because the first book I picked up, I believe I was 23 at the time, and it was called A Defining Decade, Why Your 20s Are Like Not Your New 30s, and they
Oh.
matters the most. And I'm like, whoa, I hear that a lot. 30 is the new 20. And that book's like, 30 is 30, bro. 20, you need to be getting yourself together. And
I
it
want
gave
that title again,
oh
okay?
my goodness. And
Right.
I'll give it to you, but it was a defining decade.
For sure.
And it was awesome. It was like why your 20s matters the most and they're not your new 30s. Some along those lines. I'm probably butchering it. But it opened my eyes. It exposed me. And I was so intrigued about the information in it. And that led me down a blazing pathway of like, last year I had a small goal of like to read, I think, 15 books. I ended up reading 24.
Wow,
I
look at
exceeded.
you.
And like, my wife, who'd been reading same age as you. Like last year, I think she read like 49 books.
Oh my
she's
goodness.
a straight up G.
Yes, she is.
She's a straight up G.
I think don't you find anything in life, the more you do it, the more you do it?
Oh, yeah.
Books are the same way.
Absolutely.
Reading is the same way.
And I would agree with you, but I love your point about picking up something that interests you. Like that title, like that was me. I needed that right there. That was a God thing for me. It's like, shook me into place, which also led to the podcast journey. A lot of other things that blazed from that. But yeah, no, that's important because I think we're forced to read, not forced, we're required to read books that we're not interested in school, grade school.
Yeah, I mean, back to the children that I work with all the time, one thing that I recognized right away was that they're given material to read because it meets the educational requirement, not because they're interested in it. Ooh. And so sometimes they would be unsuccessful because they were bored.
Yeah.
So in our programs, we make sure to survey, what do you like? Yeah. What are your interests? And then we seek out books and materials by diverse authors that represent those things. So not only are they finding their interests there, but they're seeing themselves as well.
And I find that super interesting too, because we was down here for 5 minutes. I started showing you 2 or 3 books that I read that I knew you would have.
Oh my goodness.
That's how books get passed down. It's not a good book I've read that I didn't share with my brothers who I was just telling you about, like my friends, of like, y'all got to tap into this your speed, or individual conversation. They won't like this, but you will.
Wow.
But when you read stuff that you're passionate about, you share that with the world. Like and it don't even have to be on a camera and a microphone. You share that information with the world.
Absolutely.
It's the beauty of books.
I can't tell you, I buy books, like if I see one, for instance, I just met again Nicole Hannah-Jones the other day, author of the 1619 Project. I have 4 copies of her book.
Yeah.
I bought one for myself and then others to give away because my book is mine. I write in it. I tear the pages. I not tear them, but I bend and I do the things. Yeah, right. That's my relationship with the book.
You're right.
So I have other books that I give away to people. So I'm always going to buy multiples.
I love that
for that reason.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. Why do you believe, Abena, reading is so important, especially for adults and younger professionals?
Wow. So reading, again, and the way that I'm looking at reading is that literacy component. Yes, reading the words on the page and comprehension and understanding, but reading the world. I think for adults and young professionals, professional people, it's so easy to just glance over an email or to have an audio thing that translates the information to you. So it actually even the possibility of eliminating reading altogether. That's the world we live in, right?
That's true.
But reading and putting your eyes on that page, it helps us with our critical thinking to be able to dissect an idea and to analyze it, synthesize it, and make sense of it. It helps with our discernment. It really does.
It does.
The discernment and the intention behind things. Of course, our ability to communicate. Yeah. Reading is essential in that. And then what I call the inner infrastructure. We all have an inner infrastructure that is informed by what we read. What is the inner infrastructure? I mean, confidence, vocabulary, and perspective. So if you read something, then you're illuminated by that idea, or it sparks some type of, aha moment for you. Then once you're able to make sense of it and recommunicate that back out into the world, whether you agree with it or not even, that builds your confidence in your abilities. And then it increases your vocabulary. It gives you the language. It gives you the words, right? So you're able to repurpose some of that language for your own thoughts and expressing yourself. And then it increases your perspective, right? There's nothing more exhilarating to me than being challenged by an idea and even having my mind changed, or at least being able to fine tune the way I already think. So that's that inner infrastructure. Reading is critical for that. So I think that's how young adults and young professionals, adults in general, that's why we should be reading. Maybe turn off the audiobook. Maybe pick it up and read it.
Yeah. Oh, you make a good point, because on a lot of that, and there's 2 caveats 2 roads I want to go down, but the one is the audiobook, and I'm actually getting somebody on who she do 80% of audiobooks, because with ADHD and different things like that, some people aren't able to. So I want her perspective too.
Okay.
But the people like who can sit down and physically read a copy of a book, turning off the audiobook, I can be doing laundry, I can be rocking my son to sleep with the audiobook on, whatever it may be. A physical book forces you to sit still and be. We don't do that enough as
Right.
adults. I love that perspective.
Time seems to get away from us, right? Or our lives are ruled by time rather than us being kind of the rulers of time,
yes.
for lack of a better way to say that. And no shade to anyone who needs to use a
Absolutely.
device or other ways to
Absolutely.
read. That is not what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
I
But I
get it.
am saying is, can we change our relationship with these materials?
Yes.
Because it's a relationship. To me,
It
I'm
is.
nerding out again.
No, it
You
is.
know,
No,
it's
it
a
is.
relationship.
That's deep.
So that inner infrastructure
Yeah.
is crying out for intimacy with a book.
Yeah.
When a writer, because I'm a writer too,
Yeah.
so that
You're
that
speaking
gives
from
me,
that perspective.
yeah. When I'm writing something, I'm not writing to the world.
Yeah.
I'm writing to one.
Yeah.
That's the person reading. So I want, as a writer, I want you to read my words.
That's a huge
Be
perspective.
intimate in that moment with the text,
Yeah.
and that's what it is.
I want to kind of shift to what piques your interest. You gave us a great overview about reading that's a lot higher level than I'm still processing, actually.
Me too.
So if you're still processing like me, please pause this episode and think and just sit with her words. That's very important. But what kind of books do you gravitate towards mostly?
Well, I love this question because I'm nerding out again, but
Here
I
we
think
go.
this is the right place to do
Yeah,
that. Right?
The floor is yours.
Thank you. So I consider myself an eclectic reader. I read lots of history. I'm a history nerd. You name it. If it's written by someone Black or about Black culture and history, then I probably have the book. So
Yeah.
history,
I love that.
essays, because essays are a way to kind of break down what you're seeing in the world, social commentary, that kind of thing.
Yes.
Fiction, I do like fiction. I don't read enough fiction. But Octavia Butler.
You was telling me
Oh,
about
my goodness.
one of her books that you read on the podcast.
Yep, Parable of the Sower and
Yes.
Parable of the Talent.
Okay.
Oh my goodness! And then there's a little compendium that I can't call the name of that I have of hers. That's just like you put it in your bag and you can just open any page and be
Yeah.
inspired. So the books like that. But mostly nonfiction history,
Love it.
those kinds of things are what I read. But I do, as I said, I have a great value for fiction because the imagination, to me,
Yes.
imagination is a resource. And so fiction feeds that.
Yeah. So I actually started a book club. Now I'm coming up on 2.5
You
years
started
ago.
a book club?
Yeah. I got.
Oh my gosh.
I got a men's book club. It's too
Yes.
many. It's too many women book clubs that I love and adore. My wife is a part of one. That's going on, and I'm like, fellas, we need to be reading too.
That's what I'm talking about. I love that.
Yeah, it's amazing. But what I do is, because I'm not that authoritative style leader, I let all the men, like, we alternate who pick the books.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we have one guy who, if I have him read Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willett, because I'm a nonfiction nerd and I'm obsessed with the military, he picked fiction books because that's what he read.
Yeah.
And he's challenged my reading, like, span, and it's amazing. Like, he just had us read this book called, his name is Sam Pierce. He had us read a book called Project Hail Mary.
Oh, that sounds
Phenomenal.
Cool. Yeah.
It was the guy who made the movie and book The Martian Man. They came out now. They turning Project Hail Mary into a movie this year. We all gonna go watch that, some fellas. I told my wife, never in a million years would I thought I've read a book before I went and watched the movie. I actually judged her. I'm like, why would you read the book when the movie's out? She's like, no, it's better if it is. She was right.
The books are always better than the movie, and I think you're onto something when you say, everybody alternates choosing what book you're going to read, because it's kind of like music. If someone is trying to share a song with you, what they're really saying is, this is who I am. I want to share myself. So when people are inviting you to read a title, they're saying, this is who I am. It's a beautiful thing.
That's true.
Especially among men.
That's so true. No, that's so. I think
Kudos.
that's so true, because when I told them we was reading Extreme Ownership, some of the guys in the club like, gotta hear these war stories. But that's like, that deeply resonates with me.
Yeah.
Like, it does. And you're absolutely right. I never looked at it like a book that you recommend and you share with others, it's kind of showing who you are. Even just
Yeah.
the title. Like,
I mean,
even if the book bombed, the title.
Yeah, I think about my husband. We have very different tastes in music.
Yes.
We're miles apart. But I know that when he's giving me a song to listen to or he's playing
That's
a song,
him.
that's him. That's his heart.
Yeah,
that's his
that's
heart.
beautiful.
So
Oh, my
same thing with a
goodness.
book. That's your heart.
Oh my good. Well, that span that those different genres and things that you dig into, the essays is really what piqued my interest. I don't read enough essays. I don't read enough, but that's a really healthy span though. You're not just staying at one lane. Which kudos to my folks who want to stay in one lane of
Right.
reading and stuff like that. But I truly want to become a historian. I really do.
No doubt. The time we live in, I think, is ripe for more people to share and witness and to put that down on paper.
Yeah.
For people who are interested in essays, I will go back to Substack and say, go to substack.com. You will find your community there.
Nice.
You can just follow different people and read their work, and it's essays, short and long. And you'll be, I'm sure you'll find something interesting there.
I'm gonna have to dig into that Substack
Yeah,
stuff. So
for sure the Imhotep report has something for
Let me
you.
check that out for sure. Yeah. We'll have links to that below too. Don't worry about it. I'll get it, guys. In what ways does reading help articulation, confidence, and expressing ideas clearly? Before you share, because I'm definitely interested in hearing your perspective on this. I stumbled across, do you know who Jordan Peterson is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stumbled across one of his videos where he was getting interviewed at a university, and she asked him, like, why is it important for, like, young men to be articulate? And his perspective on sharing, like, why would anybody not want to be articulate is absurd to him, obviously. But just, like, the importance and the values of articulation and being articulate and walking in these different rooms. I thought that he said it really, really well that I'm probably not doing him any benefit, but it made so much sense. I immediately shared it with, like, my homies back home. Like, I was like, yo, check this out. Because we at that age where me and my wife having our second kid, but we all having, like, it's 4 guys in this group chat right now that's about to have a baby.
Wow,
Like
something in
they're
the
watching.
water.
Yeah.
Something in the group chat.
Yeah. We got April, May, and then June and July.
Oh,
all
beautiful.
back to back.
Congrats, guys.
Yeah, appreciate that. We need that. But yeah, no, what are your perspective on that question? And I can ask it again for your, to jog your memory. In what ways does reading help with articulation, confidence, or expressing ideas clearly?
So I love this question. And as I think about this, articulation to me, again, I'm going back to reading the world, being an adult and standing in your power in this world as it is today, not as we wish it to be, but the world as it is. Articulation, reading gives you language. Reading gives you words. And once you have the words, once you have the language, you have agency. You can do, you can move, you can be. You can name it. If you can name it, then you can challenge it. And if you challenge it, then you have the opportunity to build something better, something else, or change a thing altogether. This is all a part of articulation. Articulation isn't just what you speak, it's what you create too.
It's true.
Right?
It's
So
true.
structures of thought, how you're able to structure your thought is all a part of that. Reading gives you that kind of agency to structure your thoughts in a way that could be persuasive or beneficial or that could edify, right?
Yes.
So structuring your thought. And it also, part of articulation too is understanding that your ideas are not isolated. They're not. Your ideas are part of a larger conversation that's happening in the world. You only know that once you express them. So reading gives you that, and then kind of, through a chain of reaction and relation of ideas and structuring of thought. And once you start to create, you realize, no, I'm not out here by myself.
Yeah.
I'm not isolated in my ideas. My ideas, my thoughts are part of a larger social conversation. It could be as small as your peer group. It could be as large as a societal question, but your ideas fit and have a place there.
Yes, that is beautifully described, especially for our genius that's listening to the podcast or know a genius that should be listening to the podcast are sitting on those ideas because they don't feel confident to articulate that.
Oh, go for it. Don't sit on them. Sometimes I get accused all the time of of moving too fast.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to tell anyone to move on an unvetted thought,
Absolutely.
right? So
Yep.
you've got to be able to put some pressure test your ideas. But there comes a point when you have to move, especially if you're operating
true.
in your purpose.
Yep.
You don't have the luxury of sitting on your ideas. It could be a matter of success and failure. It could be a matter of life and death. For some people, you have to move upon your ideas, especially if it aligns with your purpose work. You got to go for it. Don't hate on nobody. Don't wait on nobody. Go and go and do it.
That. I love that. And you just piqued my interest a bit more because what we're doing right now is actually an idea that I've been sitting on for like 7-8 months. And I'm like, I need to do mini series about reading, and it goes into the bigger picture, which is going to lead to my next question of why we're sitting around. So the work that I get the great privilege to do is I work for an organization called Change Course. Our founder and CEO.
You work for Change Course?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I love Change Course. My bad,
Yeah, no,
but
you're
yes,
good. Yeah,
yes.
Joe and Karen are seeing amazing.
Yeah.
Like we, they built an amazing thing that I get the privilege of joining in on. But we do, we work with, and for those of you who are not familiar with what Change Course is, it's a 5-month career development program where we focus on getting people who are either in generational poverty, people who are previously incarcerated, or just people who are recovering from addiction. We help get them on a career path, and we do that by a certain various system that we have set up that I'm not going to go into detail here on. But one thing that we have for them to do is, for our leaders who participate, they have to be able to pass a math and reading assessment. Now, that assessment is at a very early grade level that our leaders will have to pass. And the amount of people that don't make it through that grade level and don't, on both sides, math and reading, it breaks my heart. My heart just shatters because not only because that so easily could have been me if I wasn't fortunate enough to have a skill of basketball, because I probably would have fell below that system too. So I level with them on that. But just like these are 30, 40, 50-year-old adults and can't read at this grade level, and it breaks my heart. So that leads me right into my next question for you is, how does literacy, or the lack of it, shape economic opportunities?
You know what? I mean, I think we all understand that for adults it's a little different than it is for kids, right? For kids, they learn how to read and then they read in order to learn. But for adults, it could be a matter of your livelihood at stake. I think about local newspapers.
Yes.
Local newspapers are written at the 6th grade reading level, 6th or 8th grade reading level. That's so that a majority of people who are reading can understand it.
Yep.
So contracts, however, are not written that way.
Super high level.
High level legal jargon and meant to be confusing, right? You need an interpreter, you need an attorney in order to get through those kinds of things. Literacy, and I said earlier that it's beyond reading, but for this question, it is about the skill and ability to read and understand.
That's true.
So literacy in the traditional context gives us access, right? Access to understanding. I think about contracts. In my work, I deal with a lot of contracts. And good Lord, I'm college educated and I have trouble. I'm like, hold on, I need help. Right.
Yeah.
So I know if it's challenging for me, it could be challenging for someone who does not have all of that educational background, right?
Yeah.
So literacy and the economy are intricately intertwined because it also aids us in institutional navigation, how to move through these systems, how to know left from right if we're in a social service or if we're in a hospital or if we're in a legal situation, all of these things. And
hospital is a big one. The
Right.
people who go in the hospital and advocate for themselves, not only will you get treated with more respect by the doctors and the nursing staff, but you'll be able to tell them, like, so, for instance, I work out a lot, so I have, like, creatinine that, like, creeps into my blood, which they thought I had, like, a bad kidney.
yeah,
So they was going to try to put me on, like, a drug, and I'm like, Absolutely not. Like, then they tested my kidneys. Like, oh, your kidneys are working perfectly fine. Your body's working on it's constantly breaking down. And I'm
For
like,
sure.
if I wouldn't have been able to advocate for myself and speak to my doctor, like, no, I don't think I need that. But if you don't know,
If you don't know, and I come across this all the time in some of the work that I do with adults.
yes,
Creatine, for instance,
Yep.
as you mentioned,
Yep.
like that could creep up in a drug test when you're applying for a job. It could impact your drug
levels of
testing.
something.
Yeah. And then you could be rejected from a job. That's health literacy.
Yes.
So all of these different ways
It's
that
so
that
much deeper
reading,
than
and
reading.
it is, right? So it's about
right.
being literate to read the world.
Yes.
And if you
Love
don't,
that.
if you can't do that, there are people who can help you. As I said earlier, if it's a contract or a legal document, that's what, legal aid is for. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money,
true.
but there are people who are experts who can help tap into these resources. And you mentioned self-advocacy, for sure. That's a part of our livelihood, being able to advocate and be aware enough of, what is going on with ourselves to be able to advocate.
Yeah.
Also, once you earn, I think, of course, reading increases, being able to read well, it can increase your earning potential,
Absolutely.
but also increases your ability to protect what you've built.
I never even looked at it from
Yeah.
that perspective.
Yeah.
That's the perspective of like, hey, you already established and got some good things going for you. And part of your continuing being a lifelong learner is a term that I think people use loosely.
They
I
do.
subscribe to that.
Me too.
100%. But being a lifelong learner can help you continue to work your way up the ranks without, like, financially, should I say, ranks without, like, forcing it.
Yeah.
I never even thought about
Yeah,
that.
got to protect what you build.
That's a good thought. Yeah, and I do believe strongly that the education problem in this country is directly a correlation to the wealth gap in this country.
It is. And I could go on and on. I think it's a whole nother episode.
It is. We'll table that, but I want your thoughts.
Yeah.
I want some thoughts. Give me something.
We've got to get to the place as Black folks that we are literate enough that we can educate ourselves. There's no reason why I should depend on
It's huge.
a flawed education system
It's huge.
to give my children historical context.
When you know.
When I know I can teach it better. So, literacy, being able to read the world, being able to read words on a page can help our families,
Yeah.
can help our communities. It gives us some independence that we may not be tapping into right
True.
now.
And this is why I want to add this to your point. Teaching your children in the home is going to be of the utmost importance now. Like, not saying homeschool. I'm saying at home, it's not just social media, it's phone time. It's time to be teaching and pointing to your kids because you got people in power, like the gentleman from Florida, I think his name is Ron DeSantis. He wanted to teach that, take slavery out of the books and said slavery was a choice. Hold up.
Oh, yeah.
Pause.
Man.
Hard stop. That's why I encourage parents to, of all colors, teaching your home. Teaching your home with humility and about history. Brene Brown?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
Absolutely.
goodness. She's one of my coworkers, Bobby. She's one of her favorite. And actually, my mother-in-law love her, too. Like, love her dearly. But she was talking about, she worked with these guys in the tech industry, these all fancy, big-name people who are worth over billions of dollars. And she asked them, like, what do they do in their home? Like, how do their home life? She said, all of them tell her they don't have tablets, iPhones, iPads. They're talking about philosophy, religion, and history in their homes.
And that is the truth. While they're building big tech, and that is their way that they earn a living.
Yep.
But by and large, it's the humanities. It's the humanities, our
Yep.
ability to relate to one another.
True.
Ideas and
true.
philosophies and thinking through problems. These are how other people
Yep.
are rearing their families.
She
right?
said that is the dinner conversation.
Yeah.
The dinner conversation is not, look at what these couple did on Instagram.
No, there is no device because there is no
No.
account on these social media
That's true.
platforms. So
That's
yeah,
true.
that's absolutely right. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, me either.
I
Oh,
think
no,
we
me
need
either.
to
I think they're
sit
doing
down at the
right.
dinner table and have a conversation with our children,
Yeah,
and with each other.
Yeah.
I love the fact that I see more and more couples now talking at dinner.
It's beautiful.
I go out to eat a lot because I don't cook.
Yeah.
So we're always at a restaurant. I don't do that no more. Like,
No,
my kids are
I'm
grown.
done. I'm done, brother.
Right, when the grandbabies come over, I'm ordering a pizza. But
Mm-hmm.
my husband and I, we go out to dinner a lot.
Yeah.
And more, what I'm seeing is couples engaged in
awesome.
conversation, friends, laughing and talking
It's
and
amazing.
sharing. Phones are not even out,
Wow.
or they're
Yeah.
turned down on the
Yeah.
table. Right? So that kind of interpersonal connection is what we're all crying out for. We need more of
And
it.
that makes a huge difference of whether it's like up like mine's is, or down like yours is, or completely off. That at a dinner setting, that's a different dynamic of where all three of the locations at. So that's a beautiful thing. I'm glad to hear you seeing that in our state, in our city, in Des Moines. This is a hard one for you. This is a hard one for you. You pre-prompted me.
Yeah.
What book
Oh,
has had the
man.
biggest impact on your life, and why?
So I told you before we got started, this question stumped me because I'm like, one book?
Come on, man.
One? So as I'm sitting here continuing to contemplate, I'm going to give you two for very different reasons.
Okay.
First, I think the Bible.
Amen.
And maybe not even because of what's in
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
but because of how it's written.
Mm-hmm.
The language in the King James version, because I grew up in a very Christian
Yeah.
household. The King James
a bit
language
different.
is so different, and it's like all of these words. The original text could have
Yes.
meant something else, and so for me, it was a puzzle to be
Translation.
solved.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would say, really seeking understanding and clarity. That passion for understanding and clarity probably started there.
Yeah. That's good.
And then there is a book, oh my goodness, by Richard Wright called Native Son.
Native Son.
Native Son by Richard Wright. If you have not read that book, I highly recommend it. It's one of those books I think is on the banned list now. But hey, I read banned books. I read all books.
Same.
So Richard Wright's Native Son is a phenomenal story. Complex. There are contradictions. There is language. There are, there's crime. There are, different ways of seeing the world. The way that he will show, not tell. He allows the reader to develop the world in their minds. There's a way that writers can write that doesn't tell you what's happening or tell you what the person is feeling.
Yes.
They demonstrate it, right? They paint the
beautiful.
picture. And so I think Richard Wright's ability to do that had a huge impact on my love for words and reading and writing too.
I love that. I'm going to have to check that out.
Please
I just wrote it
do
down.
it, yeah.
I wrote it down. So we do have time for one of my 5
Oh,
outro questions that I love to ask my guests who I don't get to talk this long with because I just knew this was going to go over. I'm excited it did. I'm trying to see where I want to take it. You kind of just answered the book one with the reading thing. I love this one. Let's do this one. If listeners take away just one thing from our conversation, what do you hope it is?
well, I think I would hope that listeners, gosh, there's so much that we've talked about.
I know. I'm sorry. I stumped Afna
Oh
again.
my goodness. No, I think I
Yes.
got it. I want people to understand that reading and literacy, liberation and leadership are all interconnected,
important.
right? Leadership, I always say readers are leaders, and I mean that literally.
It's true.
Literacy can lead to liberation, and once you're liberated, you can lead.
It's beautiful. That's beautiful. Well, it's been a great privilege of hanging out with you
Oh
today,
no,
cousin.
it's my pleasure, my privilege.
Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
I cannot wait to celebrate you, and I'm gonna let you give us an update on what's going on next week. Or you can throw the date out, but I'll get it out before your event next week. So what you got going on?
Next week is our second annual Pages of Power book drive at Sankofa Literary and Empowerment Group. So we're asking our
go.
community to donate gently used or new books so that we can help spread them out amongst our community.
I love that. And where can we find you? Where can we connect with you?
For sure. All over social media. I am on Facebook, Sankofa Literary and Empowerment Group. You can hit me up directly, Abena Sankofa. I am also on Instagram at the official Sankofa, and then my website, abenasankofa.com.
Love it. And we can find a Substack on their website, I'm assuming.
The Imhotep Report, absolutely.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Well, thank you again,
Thank you,
podcast
Jawan.
cousin, sister.
Thank you.
And this was amazing. Until next time, guys. Peace. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode today and enjoying this conversation with me and Abena. All right. If you enjoyed this conversation, if you found it inspiring, edifying, and just pushing you to be better, I want you to do a few things for me. For one, press the like and subscribe button wherever you listen on whatever platform. We'd love for you to get alerts when new episodes come out. Two, share this with a friend who you think it will be impactful. Share it on social media. We would love to share and reshare any information that you guys put out there regarding this podcast, this conversation. And yeah, reach out on the Instagram, and I will have all of Abena's social media links and stuff like that where you can find this wonderful human and get connected to her work. And so thankful for you guys for tuning in. And I do want to end and close with, yeah, we're looking forward to having this reading conversation centered around growth in reading. And I'm looking forward to the guest that's coming forward and talking about this in a time like this. So happy Black History Month to you all, and keep doing what we gotta do day by day. Peace.